Hi, welcome to Midweek camera roll number 8. Thank you if you've been following on these little videos. I set it up initially as a form of showing images that I had taken between vlogging. Now we're 13th of November and we are in day 2 of sunshine. Kind of sunshine. We've had no sun, for the first 2 weeks of November, barring today and yesterday. So it's been a bit bleak in terms of photography. I have done some vlogging. I've got a video coming out on Saturday. I had another equity meeting in Canterbury. So it was another opportunity to take the cyber shop and just walk around, take some images. Hopefully you'll tune into that. I'm not going to show any images from that vlog because obviously I want you to watch the vlog. I'll put a link to it here actually, just in case you're watching this video after the event or after the fact. So, someone comes and views this midweek camera roll number 8 in a month's time. There's a link. Fabulous. So I'm not going to show any images from there, but I will show images that I took. Oh, let's just get on with it. We'll have a look at the images. I've been thinking about the photography in respect of art. And photography is an expression of our artistic kind of workings. Now, I'm a musician. I've written songs in the past. I've tried to produce an album, that kind of stuff. And so music is an art form. You've got people who write poetry. You've got people who write books. I have a lot of admiration for people who write books. I want to, but I can't get my head around kind of structuring the whole thing. But when it comes to photography, a little like painting or sketching, and we all do doodles and things like that, photography allows us to get out with the camera and capture a moment. And we can do things with our photography. We can do street photography, we can do night photography, we can do landscapes, all of that kind of stuff. And we're creating an art form that we ourselves satisfy ourselves with. Does that make sense? We may not share it with other people. And I've heard the argument, if you're creating art, who are you doing it for? Someone else's pleasure or your own pleasure? And I think it works both ways. We're definitely doing it for our own pleasure, but there's always the hope that someone will see it and will appreciate it. And they'll be like, yeah, I can get on board with this. So we go out with the camera. I've been out with this, my trusty old DSLR, entry level, had it for 5 years now. And it just does the business for me. It allows me to express that artistic side of me that is the photography. So that being said, I want to go through the images, mostly because the way I've captured certain images, I think is an expression of my artistic side. Does that make sense? I've captured them, and this is the thing that I will capture a scene, and I think no one else will capture that. I'm inspired by other photographers, and I think I'd like to capture a picture like that, but it's how I see an image through my eyes. So it's one of those things that there's nothing right and there's nothing wrong in photography. People can say, oh, that's great, Tudor, but you could have done this, you could have done that. And while I appreciate comments like that, at the end of the day, it's my image, and I saw that, and I took that. The first batch of images are based on the sunshine that was about to happen, what I said in the intro. And so I'm outside looking out my window, and it's early morning, and I'm thinking, I can see a fabulous sunrise. So I saw the sky was starting to go red, and I thought, I'm going to get down to the coast. Maybe I can capture something. I'm always at the coast, but when you get that kind of flat horizon and the sea, you think the sun's going to pop up. So I'm driving to the coast. This is shot in Wootton. It was particularly dark, but it's the old tree, the fallen tree. It's still there. It's almost majestic in its own kind of presence. It's kind of reaching out to the sky. But we can see the colours of the sky, the hues and everything. So yeah, I captured it, not particularly sharp. You know, that's the thing with me. I'll take the image and then I'll think, why didn't you adjust the ISO? Why didn't you do this why didn't you choose a different aperture? I like to take pictures kind of quickly and on the fly. So, you know, later I think about those things. So I got to the coast and it really is just a case of harbour arm photography and beach photography. So we got the trawlers. All the trawlers are out, and I particularly like this because we've got the reflection of the little trawler. So I thought, yeah, let's make that into a portrait shot. And then as I'm walking along, I'm looking down. Now I say this a lot in my photography, is that don't just look straight ahead, look up, look around. Well, actually, look down as well. I thought this was kind of haunting. You know, I have a fear of the water. I swim, you know, I don't mind getting in the water, but I have a fear of what's in the water. Stems back from watching Jaws as a teenager. Freaked me out. And I'm seeing this boat, and it's obviously, you know, when the tide is out, all the little rowboats are all lined up. But here the tide has come in, and I thought that kind of looks eerie and spooky. You know, it's the boat under the boat. So I thought, well, I'll capture that. It looks really good. So then I'm walking along and I see the sun is trying to pop up. There's a boat on the horizon, not particularly sharp again, but I captured it anyway. It's kind of the different hues and the sun bursting up through the cloud. So I thought, well, okay, concentrate for a minute. Let's see what... And then I could see the shaft of light from the sun reflecting on the water, giving me this straight line. So I took a portrait shot. And it's all the art for me, you know, as I said just earlier. What do you see when you take a photograph, and does it please you? And that did. I liked that shaft of light coming down. There was a kind of a very slow lull of waves. Then as I walked down onto the beach, the water was getting a little bit feisty, let's say the least. So I tried to do kind of a slow shutter speed. I'll put the settings for this image, the metadata there. Can't remember what it was as I'm looking at the picture right now. But I got movement of the waves, and it's just wave, lifting up. And then I looked up, because you have to look up. And the sky was doing something amazing. Look at all those kind of stratos, are they stratos clouds? You know, when they're all wispy and all different shapes and stuff. So I was quite pleased with that, capturing that. It's not even a pano, it's just like 18mm. Let's zoom right out, try and capture everything. I think I did try and do a pano on this, but I couldn't line up the horizons and stuff on the two images I took. So I thought, nah, I'll just stick with the 18mm one. Coming along to the left at what's it called? Sandy something or other beach. You've got this promenade that walks all the way along and all the arches. You may have seen it in some of my other videos. So I'm stood right here at the edge of the archways, and the waves are coming along and crashing up, but it wasn't heavy enough waves to give me a big splash. But I thought I'll capture it anyway. And then I tried another one in portrait, and I kind of did some post-processing on this to bring out the brightness at the left-hand side at the bottom there. Yeah, I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, that's quite special. Talking of special, how about this? Looking down again, I'm thinking when the tide is in and you've got people jumping in the water and they're bouncing around, they could catch themselves on that rock. And how deep does that rock go? So I've got myself my very own St. Michael's Mount here. All I need is a little castle on the top. I could superimpose a castle, couldn't I? But you got the waves kind of all lapping around. So what I was trying to do here was, as the waves were receding, I thought, try and get yourself a slow shutter speed, as slow as I could, so that I kept the little rock in focus. but all the wave movement is blurred. So I like that. This was actually, I think, a 30th of a second. So the wave movement was quite fast. But what attracted me was the kind of the light glinting on the waves from the sun. So I've got all these orange hues in the water, and it's also a little bit on the rocks, but then also the movement of the waves. And I liked that. I thought, rather than super fast speed, capturing the water, really sharp, let's try and get the movement of the water. Yeah, kind of does it for me. So again, looking down, little bit of seaweed and the froth of the water. I actually didn't get this in focus, but I'm showing it anyway, just because it goes back to what I'm saying about what attracts you to an image. What is the arty thing that you're seeing, and is it worth taking a photograph of? It will appeal to somebody. It kind of appealed to me. I think I'm more attracted to the bubbles rather than the seaweed. And then I saw this. It immediately got me singing a song. There's a song by the Moody Blues called Driftwood. Just like a driftwood on a dream. I'll put a link up here. Maybe they've got it on YouTube. It's a nice song. Justin Hayward singing. And it's clear to me that somebody has left this because it was obviously a piece of wood that has been burning. You can see all the charred. It almost looks like charcoal, doesn't it? And yet the top of the wood is crystal clear. Crystal clear, untouched by flames. I thought, yeah, just capture that. But as I'm walking along, I'm seeing elements of litter. Why do people leave their litter? So as I'm leaving the beach, I saw this sign. Have you forgotten anything? iPhone, wallet, headphones, sunglasses, or litter. It's nice of them to remind us of our personal belongings, but also important to remind us, take your litter home with you. And yet people don't. I don't know, mind boggles what goes through their mind. So I'm walking back to the car and I see the people preparing for a swim. And I thought, you're brave, considering all the sewage that seems to be going in our oceans and seas lately. But maybe Folkestone is quite clean. I don't know. So I've got the guy and the two girls. Out they go. Splish, splash. Let's go for a swim. And then as they're kind of waist high, the waves are... And I caught her just as she's trailing her arms. And I like that aspect of it. She's like, this is me and I'm going in the water now. The mermaid. Now, I say we. Anyone who's in Folkestone will take a picture of the mermaid. It's actually a statue of the artist herself. But you've got the seaweed and everything around her feet. So I think it's actually classed as the mermaid in terms of Folkestone and its creative arts. Now, I've got the picture of it here because I've zoomed in on the mermaid. But the reason I was taking the picture is this next one. There was a girl sat on the wall. And I thought, you're almost adopting the same pose. Now, I had to be quick here because I didn't want her to know I was taking the picture of her. And equally, she kind of kept shifting like this and this. So she's obviously taking a break. She's watching the people on the beach. She's doing this. But I thought, mermaid, real maid, real girl. How often can you get a shot like that other than asking someone to pose? And that's the element of street photography as well, isn't it? That you capture a moment, you seize a moment just at the right time. So my depth of field is a little shot here. She's not as focused as the mermaid and the lighthouse. But again, it was impromptu and quick. Perhaps if I had zoomed out and then thought about, I'll crop this later. And as time goes on and I do more photography, that kind of thing will start happening. So then it was yesterday evening. And now I've got my office looks out onto the cricket pitch. I'll give you a bit of footage here. And I don't necessarily, I'm not always looking out at the field, because I'm doing my work and got the laptop. My back is to the laptop's here and I'm doing my work. Because of these early ending days. Is that what you call it? You know, with the sun sets at 5 a.m. and until the 21st of December, it's going to be even shorter days. Shorter days, that's what I was looking for. Because I'm looking out here, I get all this fabulous colour. And so I kind of saw all the trees as silhouettes. Yes, I've got a power line going across, and I could clone it out. But 2 reasons I haven't. 1, too much like hard work, right? Dot, 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 dot. It took me half an hour to do that, and I couldn't be asked. But the other thing is, I forgot what the second thing is, but what I'm liking is the silhouetted clouds, silhouetted trees, and I've got the colours and the orange coming through the trees and as well as the sky. Now, what was happening was that it was very windy and the clouds were moving really fast across the sky. But the sun was setting due west, and so it was illuminating the undersides of the clouds. So 2 things were going through my mind here. Capture the image, and maybe as many as I can outside here, but then jump in the car and see if you can head to the coast again. Because it was all, because that's south facing, right? So I've got Dover, Folkestone's that way, Dover's that way. It's all open to me. And you know, I actually did a pano here, but I caught this humongous cloud drifting across, and it's all lit up. I don't often do cloud photography, but I thought maybe you could get down to the coast and capture all of those clouds, you know, coming across the channel. So I jumped in the car, I'm heading towards Dover, doing the country lanes, and there's more cloud. I'm thinking, this is going to be great. I'm going to get some great cloud shots. And then what happened? Well, I got down there and there was no more any clouds. Like drat. It was just blank, because you can see it on the bottom of that picture there. So I ended up in Dover. I thought, okay, I've got the tripod in the car. Let's pop the camera on the tripod, turn off vibration reduction or vibration control, as it is on this camera. I don't know if I can show it to you. It's got VC written there. Does it show up, VC? Vibration control on this Tamron. I'm not falling foul of that other incident that I had in Norway, whereby I left it on and all my images on long exposure were shot to bits. So I parked up and I thought, I like this. This is the cantilever bridge. So that arm actually lifts up when the bridge lifts up. I've got it in one of my drive videos. I'll put a link here. Where I did a drive from Dover to somewhere or other. And I actually started there and the bridge started lifting. But I like this because it's kind of engineering abstract against a backdrop of nature, apart from the fact that it's Dover in the background there. You've got the clouds and everything. So it got me thinking, well, let's do a landscape shot of this. So I did this shot, and then I thought, okay, well, hang on. You've got your camera, you've got your tripod. Why not try and do some light trails? See if there's any vehicles coming by. Add that extra element to the picture. So I got one, but I had a couple walking as well. So you can see on the left there, there's kind of like a ghostly apparition. Because as we know, long exposure, anything that's moving is not captured in the frame. So obviously the light is burning onto the sensor, and actually the reflections of light on the people's legs is burnt onto the centre as well. But because they're moving and walking past me, you don't see them. I kind of liked it, but I thought I want a better one than that. And so the couple, I think they were actually walking away. You can still see them in the image. But I got another image. There's obviously a bump in the road because the trail lights are dipping like that. Nice light, nice reflections, lots of good imagery. So then I thought, okay, let's walk down I think it's called Prince Charles Parade or something. It's the walkway that goes down. But before I was walking down, I swung to my left. I could see the Port of Dover on the right. And we've got this restaurant and bar. What's it called? Dover Sea Sports Centre. But all the light reflecting is what was getting me. The internal lights were changing from green to orange. And I've got the light illuminating from the street lights behind me onto the centre. And it's actually going through because you can see the patterns on the beach. Didn't really... I want to say I didn't think about the composition. And I could actually zoom in and maybe just crop in on the stairs with a little light. There's so much you can do with this kind of imagery in terms of aspect. And in my video on Saturday, which I've called Seeing the Unseen, or, see the unseen in an image. Yes, we take the big picture, but actually should we crop in? Should we actually zoom in and just take a tiny little element of that? But nonetheless, I took the one picture and I've got a light trail of a plane at the top, and that lone star is actually a planet. It's got one of the planets in our orbit. So, yeah, I'm just about to set up the shot, taking some pictures down the bridge, but I could see all the cars going up Jubilee Way. I thought I want to try and capture a shot, but it didn't really work, but I got the shot anyway. So I'm setting up the camera right in the centre of the walkway so that I've got all the lights going down. I could see this guy walking along, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get a little bit of motion blur here. And it may well be that I'll have him moving. It was not a particularly long exposure, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, but he was walking directly towards me. There's an illumination above the left-hand side of his head, and it made me think of the Pink Floyd album, The Wall, and you've got all that animation, and there's one with the teacher, and I thought, that looks like the teacher from Another Brick in the Wall. So then he's gone. I can actually purposefully set the image up and get my focus right. And it's just a line of lights going all the way down. Again, you can start doing some zooming and cropping in on something like this so that you're starting the image perhaps at the first light on the right, losing the red lifebuoy and the bins, and just have it as a clean image. I thought, let's do a postcard image. This is 2 shots, a pano, and I've got the Dover Castle with all the apartments in the foreground on 2 tiers, the street lights. If you look closely, you can see some light trails from cars that are driving along. The good thing with long exposure doing something like this is that you lose people. And I've seen someone do a daytime long exposure, like in a town square or, a courtyard or something, and you put a 10-stop ND filter, maybe 2 10-stop ND filters, and you let the exposure run for like 6 minutes, and then it just looks like the place is deserted. I want to try that one day. I think that would be good. But anyway, got myself a nice picture of the castle. So then I thought, okay, well, let's go up to Dover Castle and do that last obligatory shot of the trail lights going around the castle. But as I was up there, I got this splendorous view across Dover with the telecom tower in the background with its red beacon lights, obviously to stop aircraft crashing into it. I love an image like this because there's so much to contemplate, so much to see. That's the world below me going about its business. And I'm sitting or standing at the top of the hill and I'm taking a picture of the world going about its business. I like this shot. And the hues of the clouds, the hues of the sky. Now the clouds, because I was on long exposure, I think it was about 25 seconds for this, and it was windy. So, if there's any camera shake, it's because of the wind. But I've got the clouds moving across, and I've never actually taken pictures of clouds in long exposure. It's something I think I want to experiment a little bit more with, going out and, you know, just having a streak across the sky of the clouds while everything below, well, you know, depending on what the scene is. So let's crop in, let's zoom in, let's get suburbia at night. Everybody's gone home, they've finished work. It wasn't particularly late, it was like 6:30. So everyone's indoors, preparing their dinner. You know, it's going to be a nice, cosy evening in, apart from those families that have got, you know, troubles going on. You never know. You don't know what's going on, do you, in people's lives? And again, it goes back to what I said about that previous image. I love looking at something like this because there's so much to see. I've got a street going up at the top left there. There's a complex up on the right, perhaps some industrial units. And then you've got all the terraced houses with the little side streets. And there's a quiet one just at the front there. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. And then so finally, because I'd parked the car just up on the left of this image, I thought, let's do another camera shot of the castle with some light trails. Now what happened here is I had a guy come walking up behind me. Ray, his name is. We're now following each other on Instagram. 20-year-old. The guy was so knowledgeable. You know, I think 20-year-olds and it's like still searching for life. And this guy was wise beyond his years. If you're watching this, Ray, it was such a pleasure chatting with you. But he just kind of appeared out of nowhere behind me. I'm setting up the camera and I heard this voice, "What camera are you using?" I'm like, oh fuck. I'm about to get knocked on the head here because it's dark and the only people are in their cars doing this, that and the other. And I'm stood taking pictures of that. And suddenly I got this voice over my shoulder. So I kind of turned around startled, but equally, and I've said this before, I'm a big guy. You know, my tripod is my weapon. I perhaps shouldn't say that, but, you know, I'm always prepared. And we just got into a great conversation about photography, about life, about our jobs, our works. And it turns out that he's a poet and a writer, and he's currently writing a movie, and he does photography, and he sold his Fuji film to buy a car. Because that's what you do, right? If you're not taking your images, sell it, buy a car. Anyway, back to the picture. Rambling on now. Yeah, it was nice meeting with you, Ray. It was busy because it was just gone 6, so I got lots and lots of trail lights coming through. But as it was getting dusk, I caught a little bit of the cloud movement. You can see it there. And I think because previously I'd see where the green grass is on the right, I had stood down there to take images straight on. And then it was only going back to the car after that last session, my trail light photography, link up here, I realised that there was another position that I could stand at to take the same image. And, you know, sometimes you can have a car coming around and then swinging into the junction, so you get more light trails. A little bit of the harbour on the right. Yeah, quite pleasing. So there you go. That was midweek camera roll number 8 with a lot of rambling on and on and on, because that's what I do. But it's very nice to get out with your camera. If it's your hobby, if it's your passion, I wholeheartedly recommend just doing it. And continually expanding your kind of repertoire, what the things you like taking photographs of, and also your skill set, honing that. I think I'll always be honing it because I'm always forgetting things, and I'm always forgetting, you know, the last time I took a photo in this scenario, what did I do? Maybe that's for another video. Maybe that's, you know, I should go out there just saying, I'm not going to take a picture, but, you know, here's the scene. What do you think I should do for settings? Hey ho, and that's the way it goes. Thanks so much for watching. Drop me a comment. I'm very, very close to 1,000 subscribers. At time of going to press, 980 subscribers. I'm still getting lots of views, so I just need 20 to tip over that balance, and then I'll be able to monetize my channel. which has been going for 5 years now. It's taken me 5 years to get to 980 subscribers. Can you believe that? Thank you all who are subscribed. It means a lot. That's it. Thanks for watching and bearing with. I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.